Today I'll be making a review on my Pimax 5K Plus that I have. I've had this VR headset for just over a year. I believe I've had it for about 14 months. So I have the old Pimax 5K Plus, the black housing version, the original housing that Pimax used to sell. But Pimax has made a revision to the headset and they now sell it with the new RE housing that they call it. So straight off the bat, if anyone wanting to buy a Pimax 5K Plus, I probably won't recommend to buy the black version, the old housing, because the old housing has cracking, like a manufacturing defect in the plastic. It's very easy to get cracking on the headset, so seams and stuff might crack and whatnot. Nothing that will break the headset, but something that you just got to be wary of. Um, I I would only recommend the Pimax 5K Plus to anyone if they were to buy the new model that has the new housing and the new plastic. The new plastics fix the old cracking that the headsets used to have. But yeah, so I personally really like my Pimax 5K Plus headset. The reason why I personally bought my Pimax 5K Plus is because I wanted a high-end headset, and this was around the time that the Valve Index had been out for a little bit. I was wanting to get a Valve Index, but Steam/Valve don't actually sell it to Australia. Even a year later, they still don't sell the Valve Index to Australia. So I wanted a high-end headset, and the Pimax 5K Plus was the equivalent to a Valve Index. So that's what I got. So if you were tossing up between getting a Valve Index and a Pimax 5K Plus, I normally recommend to consumers or general people that want to get a VR headset to get the Valve Index, because there is no hassle with that headset. Versus the Pimax, you have to set up profiles and stuff when you run different games, which is not that big of a problem because you can create a profile for a game and then just leave it. So, every time you launch that game, you load into that profile you create. But it's a finicky headset. It's never just a seamless experience when you boot up a game and everything will work, and then you boot up the next game and everything will work. Well, and I'm referring to new games, ones that you haven't created profiles to. But if you're in it for the wide field of view, that's completely understandable. When I put on any headset that has a small field of view, it's just jarring. Like it's really sticks out, and I don't really like the small field of view, especially now that I've gotten used to my Pimax headset. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk over some photos that I have of my Pimax headset. Um, I might have already been doing that. I don't know how I'm going to set up this video yet, but we will see. So I am now looking at a photo of my headset. You should be able to see it on your screen, the specific one I'm referring to. So recently I bought a KD mass off of eBay, which is the backers box for the people that originally kickstarted the Pimax headsets. So it's got the upgraded comfort and whatnot, but I've literally have only just recently got it. So I've been using the original strap the whole time, and I can tell you that the Pimax 5K Plus, the new one that has the comfort kit pre-installed on it, is one of the most comfortable headsets you'll wear. This is sort of subjective, this opinion, because everyone's heads are different. But in my opinion, uh, the Pimax 5K Plus, the new blue housing version with the comfort kit, and the new strap, if I'd put it on a scale of like 1 to 10, and 10 being PSVR, which my personal opinion is the most comfortable VR headset I've worn, I'd put the new strap at possibly a 7 on that sort of scale. I'm not really sure what I'd put at a 1. But yeah, it's pretty comfortable. Um, so yeah, if you're looking to buy one of these headsets, you've got to be the type of person that's willing to fiddle around with things and get things working and whatnot. Because, like I've previously said, it's not just a seamless experience. Like, I've owned 3 different VR headsets. I own the HTC Vive, the Pimax 5K Plus, and the Lenovo Explorer. I actually recently just sold my Lenovo Explorer, but that was my first VR headset that I used. The visuals on the display of the Pimax 5K Plus is something a little bit better than a Rift S, but is nowhere near in resolution clarity to something like the Valve Index. If you want a high resolution headset and that is your priority, and you'd like to have wide field of view, the Valve Index is the headset to get. If that can reach about 130 degrees, it's better than having a small field of view headset, like 110 degrees, but it's got enough resolution to look good. I would put the resolution on the Pimax 5K Plus a little bit better than Rift S, but I'm going to say it's a Rift S, but with 170 degrees of field of view. So that really puts it into perspective. If you've ever used a Rift S, you know roughly what resolution to see. It is better, yes, but it's not a big jump to something like the Valve Index, in resolution at least. I would like to also point out that I would recommend the Pimax Artisan probably over the Pimax 5K Plus. The Pimax Artisan has a little bit smaller field of view of around 150 degrees max field of view, something like that. Essentially, it's a little bit smaller than the normal field of view of the normal Pimax headsets. So I would actually recommend to just buy that over the Pimax 5K Plus. It's got a high resolution, and it won't make sense that it's got a higher resolution unless you understand how it's got a higher resolution. The higher resolution of the Pimax Artisan is because the display size is smaller, but it's also featuring the same resolution. Horizontally, it doesn't really matter because you're not stretching out the wide field of view, right? You're running about 150 degrees, normal field of view for the Pimax headsets. 150 to 60, I don't really know exactly what it is. So the display is, the pixels per inch is more dense, which makes it perceive as a higher resolution. I actually use my Pimax 5K Plus most of the time in the normal field of view for most games I play. I was using a RTX 2080 Super to run my headset, which is a pretty powerful graphics card. And if you are of any concern of your computer not being powerful enough, I can immediately tell you roughly what you're going to need to run a Pimax headset for VR games in general. Like Saints and Sinners, Arizona Sunshine, Pavlov, Onward, those harder to run VR games, I can tell you roughly what you're going to need for, 100% resolution scale or whatever. You do need something like an RTX 2080 Super or 2080 or something like that up to run the Pimax headsets at its large field of view, right? That's sort of also why I'd recommend an Artisan. If you got anything lower than a 2080, like a RTX 2070, possibly a 2070 Super, depending on who you are. Um, you're better off getting an Artisan, just lower resolution, like normal field of view equivalents, and um, looks higher resolution. Has the same comfort kit. It's like they're still selling on their website the limited edition Artisan, which is what I'm referring to. If they ever go back to the black housing, don't bother with the Artisan unless they significantly lower the price. I believe the price right now is 450 USD. But if you're still using that resolution, if you're still using a graphics card that's not above a 2070 and you've got a 1080 Ti, you can use a Pimax 5K Plus. Yeah. So with the resolution of the Pimax 5K Plus, it is 2560 by 1440p per eye, and that's a really high resolution to run at 90 hertz. If people are wondering about the 144 hertz that it says on their page, that is only feasible at lower resolutions. So, uh, so when I mean lower resolutions, I mean smaller field of view. So if you set the headset to 120 hertz, 144 hertz, you'll get around 140 degrees, 150 degrees field of view, instead of having the full 170 degrees at 120 hertz, 144 hertz. It's because of the DisplayPort 1.4 bandwidth limitation, and possibly in the future, if Pimax revises their headsets with the new HDMI 2.1 standard or the new DisplayPort standard that's coming out soon, we could see higher, well, you could see those higher refresh rates at the full resolution of the headsets that they do. But for now, with the current models that they have, when they say that can do 144 hertz, 180 hertz with the Pimax 5K Super, it's at a smaller field of view. You're not getting that full field of view high refresh rate. For example, the Pimax 5K Super has 180 hertz support refresh rate, and the DisplayPort 1.4 cable can't do 180 hertz for 2560 by 1440p per eye. So what they do is they lower the resolution down to 1280 by 1440 per eye. Like they lower the field of view down, the horizontal field of view, to increase the refresh rate because they're limited by the bandwidth of the cable. So when you're running the full field of view with the Pimax 5K Super, you're actually only getting 120 hertz instead of the 180 hertz that the Pimax headset says it does. It does do it, it's just not at full field of view. So it can be beneficial to people that want a high refresh rate headset and don't mind trading off field of view, but I was just letting people know if they don't already know this fact, because you should know it. If you're going to buy a Pimax headset, these are things that you should know and learn about. But yeah. So back to my recommendation with the Pimax 5K Plus. You have to be the type of person that's not a streamer or a YouTuber that's going to record content, because Pimax headsets distort the vision when recording. So when you're recording with a Pimax headset, normally with normal VR headsets, it will grab the left or right eye and use that to record with. But because the Pimax headsets and the screens are orientated at like 45 degrees, so does the camera, and they have some distortion profile stuff and whatnot. And on the screen, when you're recording, you actually see this, and it's not good for footage, so streaming, recording. You can record still, it's not the normal view that you'd get, unless you're playing games that add another camera into the mix. So for example, Beat Saber, they have a smooth camera option. Then it's usable there. Also another game that has it, VR Chat. I have lots of hours in VR Chat. My most played VR game actually. They added a smooth cam to VR Chat, and basically it's very similar to the Beat Saber, and it replaces your eye vision with another camera that can be picked up or whatever and be used. So, just saying, it's not really good to record with a Pimax headset unless you got that game that you're playing has another camera option that's not your eye view. The colors and contrasts of the display is not really good. So I'd say it's one of the worst color reproduction I've seen on a VR headset, but you're also supposed to tweak the Pimax headsets to get better color reproduction, and like contrast and stuff. It's not an OLED screen, it's an LCD. So you're already expecting it to be worse with the black levels and the colors. But some of the headsets that are coming out now, like the HP Reverb G2 and the HTC Vive Cosmos, those do very well with their screens and their colors. Black levels, not really sure about that, but just talking about colors specifically, Pimax headset's good enough for a good experience, but it's not like an OLED. If you're going from an OLED screen to a Pimax LCD, you definitely do notice the colors and contrast difference. So, just going to point that out. If you wanted to know, the Valve Index does have better colors than what the Pimax headset does. So if colors are a priority to you, you should be looking at an OLED screen. Or if you want that wider field of view for better immersion, then Valve Index would be a better option than the Pimax 5K Plus. With the performance of the Pimax headsets and whatnot, I'd very much suggest getting an Artisan if you're in the market for a Pimax 5K Plus. And you probably won't know this based off the videos that you've possibly watched, like Sweeviver, MRTV, whatnot. But when you enable that 170 degree field of view of the headset, it's like looking at an ultra-wide monitor, where the vertical resolution, the vertical field of view / resolution is very short, but the horizontal goes way out to the sides. And for me, it's not that immersive, because it looks like you're looking at like a giant ultra-wide monitor strapped to your face, and it just sort of cuts off. What I mean cuts off, it does round it off, but it's just, for me, not as immersive as normal field of view, is way harder to run, and you do get distortions at the edge of the field of view of the headset. But for me personally, you're never directly looking at the edges of the field of view. You use the edges and the extra field of view for peripheral vision, which gives you more immersion when playing VR games, which I really like. But the problem is, if you are paying some attention to the distortions to the edge of the field of view, like looking forwards, you can still notice that there's some weird warping issues. It really does depend on, the person. Like, it might be very good with the distortions for someone, and then the next person it's not. It's really depending on the type of person you are, like your eye position and how the headset sits on your face or your head. So, for me, I don't mind the distortions at all. I really like the peripheral vision. It's not necessarily usable, but it's so nice to have. It's better than looking at blackness, with a small 110 degree field of view headset. Also, if you were really wondering about the specs and whatnot you need, what Pimax recommends on their website is literally the minimum graphics card that you should use for that card. So if they recommend a GTX 1070, you're not looking at wide field of view games playing with a GTX 1070. You're looking at small field of view, playing games with a 1070. If you want to activate those higher resolutions, you need to have a more powerful graphics card. If you've got a low-end system, seriously, when I mean low-end system, GTX 1080, 2060, 1660 Ti, none of the 3000 series stuff isn't all out yet, so we've currently only got the 3060 Ti for the low end currently. But if you wanting to get a Pimax headset, the wide field of view, seriously, Artisan. I'm sorry, but I have not used the Artisan personally, but it's almost the same as the Pimax 5K Plus. It's cheaper. It doesn't do 144 hertz. That's probably something I should go on to. 144 hertz with the Pimax headsets. They do 144 hertz and high refresh rate. Or at least my Pimax 5K Plus does 144 hertz, and so do the new ones. But with my experience with the display that they put in the Pimax 5Ks, the pixel response times are not great. And what I mean by that is, if you don't know what pixel response times is, it's the transition from a pixel to another pixel, the time it takes to do so. And normally monitor manufacturers say 1 millisecond for monitors, but that's theoretical maximum 1 millisecond. OLED, the OLED display technology actually is the best for response times. I've seen a LTT video that was created not too long ago, don't really remember when it came out, where they compared 120 hertz OLED TV to the Acer, I think it was Acer or Asus, sorry, Asus something rather, 360 hertz monitor, 1080p 360 hertz, and this 1080, this 4K 120 hertz OLED TV had better pixel response times than a 360 hertz monitor that needs the pixel response times. OLED is the best for that technology. LCD is pretty good, pretty close, but it's not the same. It's worse. So it has a higher refresh rate, but the pixel response times are lower than OLED. Just letting you know, no current headsets out there run at 120 hertz. No OLED headsets run at 120 hertz, whatever. So just letting people know that the pixel response times are a little bit lower than OLED. So most of the time I just play with 120 hertz. It's easier to hit with graphics cards. You need like a 3080 to hit 144 all the time because you want a smooth experience when using a VR headset. So yeah, what else is there to cover about the Pimax headset? With the facial interface that I have that came with the KD Mass, I'm assuming it's the exact same they put on their comfort kits. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty sure it's just a standard comfort kit equipped with the Kickstarter backer box. At first, when I held it, it felt like very thin, soft carpet. Like some people might have felt very short, thin, soft. I'm gonna say soft, sort of soft carpet, and that's what my initial impressions of the material was, and it was very different compared to the stock foam that comes with, or what that came with my old facial interface with the old headsets. But after wearing it for a little bit and slightly getting used to it, I just completely forgot that it felt like that, and it feels different now. I don't know what it is, but now when I feel it, it's just a different feeling than what my initial impression was of feeling the comfort kit. And the comfort kit is stock now with the new, or with all new Pimax headsets. So yeah, this does apply to all headsets. So yeah, it's pretty good. I could understand the people possibly complaining about heat build up there, but personally, I don't think it's that bad at all. Like, it gets a little bit warmer because obviously you're covering your head now versus not covering your head with the old facial interface or like the forehead. But it makes the comfort of the device a lot better, and the material feels nicer than the old one. Yeah. Another thing when purchasing a Pimax headset is to do with the audio. You can buy a Valve Index, like just the headset standalone by itself, when it's in stock, for the same price or less than the Pimax 5K Plus. I don't remember what the price is, but it's a very similar price. And you get a rigid head strap, you don't get a strap. Some people prefer straps, some people prefer rigid head straps. You get the best audio on a VR headset for immersion, so you don't have to put your own headphones and whatnot on. And the build quality's nice and all this sort of stuff. There's no bugs or anything like Pimax headsets get, like especially with Pi crashing, having to restart your PC because the headset's not being detected for some reason, um, that sort of stuff. It's just Valve Index is just a flushed out, good, well built headset that basically I can recommend to anyone that can afford it, which is why it's always out of stock or constantly being ordered by everyone. It's an amazing headset. But if you're looking to buy a Pimax headset, you have to be the type of person that's enthusiast, that wants that wide field of view, that wants to, have a good experience when it works. Like, I don't really know how else to say this other than once you've set everything up and you're not having any issues with the headset, it's an amazing headset. Yeah, I don't have much else to say other than that. For that specific portion. I'm now going to list off all the VR headsets that I have tried, because I've tried many VR headsets. I've almost tried all the consumer VR headsets. Note the word tried. I can't afford to buy all the consumer VR headsets. There's plenty now versus what they used to be a few short years ago, back in 2018, 2017, 2016, that sort of stuff. So I have tried every single Oculus headset. So the Oculus Rift, Rift S, Oculus Go, Oculus Quest. I haven't tried Gear VR. Technically, that was in collaboration with Samsung for that one. I haven't tried Gear VR. But I haven't tried the Quest 2 because it's too recent of a headset currently, and no one I know owns a Quest 2. And since Facebook has introduced the Facebook login with headsets, a lot of my friends are now turned off from buying a Quest 2 and have moved to other headsets. For example, one of my friends is going to upgrade from the original Quest to the Quest 2, and he sold his Quest, realized that Facebook was doing the Facebook's login stuff, and didn't buy one. He had a gaming PC with an RTX 2070, and he just bought a HTC Vive Cosmos, and he's going to upgrade it to the Elite with the replacement facial interface. Not facial interface, faceplate. That's right, faceplate. So, yeah, I haven't tried a Quest 2 yet. Every single Vive headset except for the Vive Pro Eye and Vive Focus. I've tried all of them, so Vive Pro, Cosmos. Technically, Cosmos is just a Cosmos Elite. I'll be trying the upgraded Cosmos soon that my friend is going to do. So, yeah. It's just the same headset with base station tracking. There's nothing to it. Pimax 5K Plus, I don't have any other experience with any other Pimax headsets. They're all high-end, expensive headsets. No one else really buys or whatever. I'm just one of those people that so happened to buy one. What else have I tried? So, I've tried the Oculus, the Vive headsets. Haven't tried the Valve Index because it's not sold in Australia. That's the reason why I bought a Pimax 5K Plus. The HP Reverb G2, haven't tried that. That's a new headset and it's also an expensive headset, so I haven't bought it or anyone of my friends has. So, the original HP Reverb, I haven't tried that either. Uh, I looked at the reviews for that and doesn't seem the best for immersion and for usability. It's more of a sim headset. The HP Reverb G2 is more aimed towards gamers, and I would only realistically look at the HP Reverb G2 for uh, gaming, VR gaming. What else? I had a Lenovo Explorer, so that's a Windows mixed reality headset, my first headset. Uh, that had really bad contrast, colors, all that stuff. The tracking back then was a little bit worse than what it is now. They've updated the software, it's gotten better, but it just chugged through like batteries, like chewed through it. I had to buy rechargeable batteries. And back then I was spending a lot of time in VR. I was spending like 5 hours straight in VR in my like spare time. It was a new thing to me, a new experience, and I fucking loved it. So yeah, I had to get rechargeable batteries, just constantly swap out the batteries on the controllers. What else is there? I haven't tried any other Windows mixed reality headset. They're all essentially the same except for the HP Reverb and the Samsung Odyssey. I don't think I'll ever try the Samsung Odyssey. Currently, the Odyssey and Odyssey Plus got the old controllers outdated. The screen is, I guess, good. I haven't seen it personally. I'd be looking at other headsets like the Quest 2 instead. Yeah. I was gonna buy a Quest 2 myself until I found out about the Facebook login thing, and I stopped myself from buying it. I'm currently on the lookout for the Deca Gear 1, so when that comes out, I will be buying it, hopefully after a review or something of the headset. So, yeah. I don't intend on keeping my HTC Vive. I'm planning on selling it. It was just a temporary headset while my Pimax headset was receiving its new cable. Actually, I probably should talk about that. So the Pimax 5K Plus and the other older Pimax headsets, still the new ones do use the same cable, but essentially I've had issues with my cable, and so has many other people. I've seen people get a cable and have to replace it 2 times before they get rid of the white dots or whatever on the screen. And this might sound strange because not many YouTubers cover this, but the Pimax cables seem to be easily damaged or something like that, and white dots start appearing on the display. They'll pop up for a second and then disappear and move to another location and stuff like that. At first I thought I was imagining this because it was only like 1 or 2 dots, and over time it got worse and worse. The cable must have gotten more damaged or something like that, and then more dots start appearing on the screen until there was hundreds of dots appearing everywhere then disappearing. Like they'll be like, oh, there, that sort of thing. Um, until finally the cable started cutting out and the screen going black because the cable was damaged. So I had to wait for a new cable. I bought a new cable. It cost me 115 USD to get it here into Australia. Very expensive. That's roughly 140, 150 Australian dollars just to replace the cable. Really sucks. So I'm hoping that they've updated the cables and they're better, more reliable, stronger. I really don't know. I'll probably make another video if I run into the screen issues, the cable issues or whatever with the Pimax headset. So yeah, that can only apply to the older cable. The new Pimax 5K Super, 8KX, they use a new type of cable. I'm not sure about the 8K Plus, whether that uses the new type of cable, but they use 4.5 meter cables, and they use two USB connection for power, versus you'd only used to need one USB connection and a power supply plugged into the cable. So they changed it up a little bit, and the cable's a little bit shorter, probably due to the USB power situation. So yeah, I don't really know what this currently what's the thing with the cables and whatnot, but yeah, I've not had a good experience with the cable. It broke, so I had to get a new one. I didn't have any issues with my HTC Vive, or haven't, I should say, had issues with it. The Windows Mixed Reality, I scuffed the cable on that. I broke it. Basically, the cable clip for it come off, and it was just sort of moving around, and occasionally I'd accidentally step on the cable, pull on it, that sort of thing, and it eventually broke after about 7 months of use or something. The Windows Mixed Reality headset, 8 months of use. And when I mean broke, the cable had to be on a certain angle to be for the displays to turn on. So I continued to use that Windows Mixed Reality headset even after the cable was damaged by, holding it in certain positions for the screen to turn on, and just continue using it. Recently, I sold the Windows Mixed Reality headset to my friend for $100, $150, I think. It was around that, and that's Australian dollars. That's like 80 USD, maybe 70 USD for a VR headset. That's fucking a great price. Yeah, the cable's damaged, but if you use it, and if it's only a temporary headset, that's a good deal, I guess. Um, so yeah, I sold him my headset. I don't have it anymore. I liked it. I'm glad that it exists. I'm really glad I bought that headset. It got me into VR back when only the HTC Vive and Oculus Rift were out, and those cost hundreds of dollars. I got mine for 150 USD, I think, the Windows Mixed Reality, versus, the what are they? What price is it? I don't remember what the old HTC Vive price and Oculus Rift price were, but I basically here in Australia it costs like $930 or something for a HTC Vive. They lowered the Oculus price down to $650, and I got my Windows Mixed Reality for $250. Good. It was amazing that I managed to get into VR because I didn't have money. I'm just going to point it out now in the video that any question about anything about Pimax headsets, I can probably answer because I've been following all the videos, all the reviews and whatnot of Pimax headset for the past 2 years, I think. We're in 2021, so 2 years, I think. Yeah. I've been following all that stuff. I wanted to kickstart the Pimax headsets back, like I wanted to back it, be a backer, but I didn't have the money then, uh, so I couldn't do it. And then I just bought the Pimax headset later on down the track, and then I just bought the KD Mass or whatever from, eBay, whatnot. Got it here, put it on the headset. Yeah, we'll see how long things last with the headset. I've had some quality control issues with the plastic cracking and whatnot, and the cable. So I don't know how long this headset's going to last me, but hopefully it lasts me for another a year or two before I have to replace it. Alright, I'm going to talk about the individuals on who should buy a Pimax headset. If you're a flight simmer, you already know that Pimax is an amazing headset for you. Wouldn't recommend the Pimax 5K Plus for sim because most likely you could afford a higher headset like the 8KX and the 8K Plus. So I'm just saying Pimax 5K Plus, possibly isn't the headset for you. But the other headsets, the 8K Plus and the 8KX, those are what sim people sort of need. They need that high resolution, easier to see text and stuff. So if you're, doing flight sims, you can read the dials a lot easier and also have a wide field of view. Really good. Yes. Like I said, the Pimax 5K is essentially just a Rift S with ridiculous field of view and high refresh rate. So there's your answer to that. It's also very expensive. Valve Index, that would be better for reading text and whatnot. Obviously, it doesn't have the field of view. If you're a car sim person, the Pimax headset, great. That's really good. I'm Resolution isn't as important, but it's still really important being able to see cars off in the distance. So I'd recommend if you can afford it, go for a higher end headset. But if you're doing sim, Pimax 5K Plus, great headset. Totally buy it. Colors don't necessarily matter. The immersion with the Pimax headsets is really good for sim sort of stuff when you're sitting down and just driving cars, flying planes, that sort of stuff. You already know. It's a great headset. Totally recommend it to the people. But from my point of view, I'm not a simulator fan. I'm just a VR gamer. So I play just regular VR games and I use the Pimax headset. And from that point of view, you've got to be in it to win it, really. You got to deal with the stuff. You got to restart your PC a lot because it doesn't detect on the PC. You got to unplug the USB cable occasionally, plug it back in, that sort of stuff. A little bit annoying, but I deal with it. I don't really care. It only takes, an extra 4 more minutes to get into VR. This is a perspective of the Pimax 5K Plus. I'd just like to point that out. The higher end headsets, like the 8KX and the 8K Plus, they're significantly better. Um, but if you just want a high-end headset, remove the screen door effect as much as possible and have amazing field of view, amazing resolution, 8KX would be amazing headset to buy. Obviously, it's very expensive at 1300 USD, but whatever. If you if you're an enthusiast like these headsets are, these are enthusiast headsets. You gotta have a powerful PC. And if you've got a powerful PC, you most likely also have the money to buy a VR headset. Like if you already own a 2080 Ti or an RTX 3080 or 3090, if you somehow manage to get those two graphics cards, um, yeah, you could probably afford to get an 8KX. If you have any questions about the Pimax headsets and stuff like that, like I said, I've been using Pimax headset as my main daily driver for over a year. I will help you out in the comment section if you need help. I'm here. And if you want to ask any sort of personal questions about, I don't know, your personal system, and if you could run it or something like that, I'll be there to help. Just ask away. If it's something that I can't answer, like possibly how bad is the distortion on the Pimax headsets. I can give my own personal opinion on it, but it's not the same for everyone. Your head shape could be different, then you get a different experience when you buy it. Or it could be really good and you basically get no distortion. It's really up to the individual. Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you very much.